"Officers, arrest this man. My cat died and he's acting happy about it." That sentence alone should tell you how absurd this entire situation was. This had to be the most ridiculous power flex Karen had ever attempted. According to her, I was going to jail over a pet I didn't even know existed. That's where it all began. It was a Friday when Karen summoned everyone for an HOA meeting. We assumed it would be the usual nonsense about lawns or trash bins. Instead, she stood there and announced that her cat had passed away. The room went silent. Then she declared that the entire neighborhood would spend the next 7 days mourning. She claimed her cat was just as much a member of the community as any homeowner and deserved equal respect. Welcome to Deeds Tales. Don't forget to like and subscribe for premium HOA chaos. Karen clutched her clipboard like it was sacred scripture. Her eyes were glossy, her voice trembled, but there was a strange smile on her face, like she'd just discovered a new way to control people. She announced that for the next week, every resident was required to wear black. No colors, no exceptions, no excuses. She even gave it a name, Community Grief Alignment Protocol. Some nonsense clearly invented during a wine-fueled power trip. I looked around in disbelief as grown adults nodded along like hostages. This wasn't grief, this was theater. Karen went further, stating that anyone who refused would be labeled an enemy of the community and dealt with accordingly. That's when I stood up. My chair scraped loudly across the floor, snapping a few people out of their trance. "Karen, have you completely lost your mind?" I asked, doing my best to stay calm. She glared at me like I'd committed a felony. "Objections are not allowed during mourning," she snapped, then slammed the table and dismissed the meeting like a judge with zero authority. The room erupted in whispers. Some neighbors stared at the floor, others looked embarrassed. A few seemed excited to perform grief for social points. I walked out knowing something was deeply wrong. This wasn't about a cat. It was about control, about attention, about seeing how far she could push before someone pushed back. The air felt different. The neighborhood had silently agreed to let insanity take the wheel. I ignored everything she said and lived my life like a normal person. The next morning, I stepped outside wearing bright, unapologetic clothes. Definitely not black. I'd already forgotten about the meeting until reality slapped me hard. When I returned home, a notice was tucked neatly into my door. A $500 fine. The reason? Visually disruptive to communal mourning. I laughed so hard my neighbor peeked over his fence. At first, I assumed it was a joke, a scare tactic. Then I walked down the street and saw another neighbor holding the exact same notice. Same amount, same smug signature. Anyone who didn't dress for the funeral cosplay got fined. Meanwhile, those who complied strutted around like grief police, whispering names and checking outfits. The next day, another fine appeared. Same wording, new date, even more attitude. So I escalated. Louder clothes, blue jackets, red shoes, patterned shirts. I wanted to see how far she'd take it. Every evening, another envelope arrived. By day 4, the fines stacked up like cursed junk mail. Karen even sent out a group email bragging about community compliance metrics, complete with percentages in bold fonts. That's when it clicked. This wasn't mourning, it was a money grab disguised as sorrow. Neighbors whispered behind closed doors. Some were scared, others were furious but silent. I wasn't paying a single dollar for a cat I never met. By the end of the 7th day, Karen claimed I owed $3,500. She taped a summary notice to my door like a trophy. I tore it down and smiled. People like her mistake silence for surrender. They don't realize some of us are just letting the rope stretch before it snaps back hard. A week after the so-called mourning period ended, I came home from work and immediately felt something was wrong. My porch light was off. The house was silent. My key wouldn't turn. The lock had been changed. I stepped back, thinking exhaustion was messing with me. Then I saw it. Red spray paint smeared across my door. Non-compliant homeowner. My electricity was cut off too. No notice, no explanation, just darkness and audacity. I stood there staring at my own house when a patrol car rolled up. Then another. Karen had already called the police. She stood across the street wrapped in black, still performing grief, telling officers I was hostile, dangerous, and refusing lawful HOA enforcement. According to her, I was a threat to community harmony. One officer frowned. "Ma'am, you said he was violent." Karen nodded rapidly, adding dramatic hand gestures like she was directing a bad crime show. They asked for my side. I calmly explained everything. The fake mourning rule, the fines, the lockout, the spray paint. I showed them the notices. Their expressions changed immediately. One officer asked Karen to provide any legal authority allowing her to change locks or cut utilities. She stuttered. Her clipboard suddenly seemed useless. The officer stepped aside and made a call. When he returned, his tone was cold and firm. Karen was informed that filing a false police report is a criminal offense. She exploded, ranting about respect, authority, and her cat. That sealed it. They turned her around and cuffed her on the spot. Neighbors poured outside pretending to check mail. Phones recorded everything. Karen screamed that she was the HOA. The officer replied, "Not today." Watching her shoved into the cruiser felt surreal. This wasn't the end, it was ignition. Karen's arrest didn't just shake the HOA, it blew it apart. Within 48 hours, board members resigned via panicked emails full of typos. Neighbors who proudly wore black suddenly couldn't remember agreeing to anything. I moved fast. I filed a lawsuit with precision: illegal eviction, utility tampering, harassment, defamation, false police reporting, emotional distress. Every claim backed by timestamps, photos, witness statements, police reports, and Karen's own unhinged emails. Court day felt theatrical. Karen arrived overdressed, chin high, clutching that infamous clipboard like a life raft. She smiled at me, still convinced she was untouchable. That illusion didn't survive opening statements. Evidence poured out: spray-painted doors, shut-off records, fine ledgers, police testimony. The judge barely blinked. Karen interrupted twice. Both times the judge shut her down hard. Her lawyer visibly aged mid-session. The ruling destroyed her. Karen was held personally liable, not the HOA. Restitution totaled $92,000. Damages, legal fees, lost wages, and punitive penalties. On the criminal side, she received 30 days in county jail, probation, mandatory psychological evaluation, and a permanent ban from holding any HOA position in the state. Gavel slammed, empire over. Weeks later, she came to my door. No clipboard, no attitude, just shaking hands and apologies. I listened, then I closed the door. Some apologies don't earn forgiveness, only acknowledgement. The HOA dissolved within a month, rules voided, power gone, peace restored. Karen lost everything because she confused control with leadership. Like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns. Do you think she got what she deserved? Comment below. The end.